Nacho was ever an optimist, and I think that he exuded that to an extent that the people around him couldn't help but feel motivated by that and inspired by that.
The tagline to so many of his emails was, "Tell me what you need and where I need to be." And if you told him what you needed and where he needed to be, he would get you what you needed. And that was true whether you were a client or whether you were an attorney trying to do work for a client or whether you were a community member trying to help your community.
What I remember most about Nacho is his role in our exchange with folks in North Carolina. In the context of the suit that we filed against the Modesto officials regarding really abject conditions, no sewage in the neighborhoods, no sidewalks, no street lights, no police and fire protection, really intolerable conditions for the Latino community there. We discovered an African American community in Pinehurst, North Carolina, a very wealthy neighborhood made famous by the playing of the U.S. Open Championship in golf, where they have multi-million-dollar homes on one side of the street. On the other side of the street, very similar conditions to what we found in Modesto. No sidewalks, no street lights, no police fire protection, no sewage, amazingly, in the 21st century. And we arranged for a cultural exchange between the Modesto community of Latinos and the African American community in Pinehurst. And we flew out to North Carolina, Nacho and a few of the other plaintiffs in the case. And we were most anxious about the meeting. We didn't know the people. There was a cultural gap, there was a racial gap, there was a language gap, and there was real anxiety. Well, no sooner do we show up at this community center where we're to meet, Nacho goes striding across the floor, greets the African Americans with a big smile and that infectious grin that he had, and he just broke the ice. He made things easy. He fostered the relationship, and throughout that long weekend that we spent there, he was the glue that held things together.
He provided individual service to all of the families in the Modesto area. At the same time, he had a really, from the ground up appreciation for the discrimination that was going on in that community and the isolation of these communities. So when the folks from Lawyers Committee and Heller came into our office and said, "So we're looking at these patterns and we think that there might be something there," and Nacho said, "Well, of course there's something there. Who are you kidding? Look at this. Let me drive you around." And he would get in his car, he would drive you up and down the streets of Modesto and say, "Okay, right now we're going to cross this street and you're not going to see any more sidewalks." And sure enough, he had that kind of familiarity with the community. He knew the community knew him. He devoted not only his own life, but he pulled his children and his grandchildren into the work, and his wife. I worked with him on many cases involving low-wage workers where we would have to go drive out into the middle of nowhere to meet with them at a labor camp. And often as not, Nacho would bring his son or his grandson with him because he wanted them to know what a good life they had compared to the lives that our clients had. And he wanted them to understand that it was part of their responsibility to look out for those people.
He went about it in a way that was frankly uncommon in our profession. That lack of ego, that humility, that genuine caring nature that he always showed. He lacked ego. He did the work that he did from working the fields as a child to the organizing that he did at CRLA with integrity and with a sense of humility that is really uncommon. And for that reason, among many others, we'll miss Nacho. He was quite a guy.